Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Here we have the 650 Classic to test ride today. What a beautiful bike. Now this comes in 4 different colors and I'll show you those on the screen, but this one here I think is one of the better ones. I love the colors. I'll grab the camera in a minute and we'll do a little walk around, but what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you the bike before we go out. We'll do a little test ride on it. I'll give you a little overview on what my thoughts are on the bike. And this has been loaned to us by the guys at Hatfields. This is their demonstrator bike, and we'll do a little video. We'll chat to you about the bike and tell you what I think, and then we'll come back here and we'll do a little wrap up. We're very lucky today. We've got some sunshine and blue skies, so it's going to make this bike really sparkle. You can see the color of the paint, how it shimmers in the sunlight. I'm not going to give you all the specs on it because it's not the way I do a demo ride. It's not a review, but it's just my opinion of what I think about the bike. So 650 twin, oil cooled is what we've got here. Same engine as they've got in the Interceptor and the new 650 Bear, the same specifications that you would have on those bikes, but this comes with the single saddle, but you can have the frame on the back here to have the pillion saddle on there as well if you want. Nice retro looking lights over the back here, and as you can see, the chrome retro looking exhaust pipes, the twin exhaust pipes with the chrome hubs. Ooh, that's going to take a bit of cleaning to keep that clean for those of you that like polishing. And what else can I tell you about it? It is just a lovely color. So if you look at the dashboard here, it's a real retro looking dashboard there with the chrome eyelids sticking out over the front light, the analog dash speedo. So no rev counter, but just a speedo up there. What you've got down here is the odometer giving you mileage. It's got the fuel gauge in there, which you can just see. And below here it's got the mileage. The bike at the moment, this one has got 48.1 miles on it, and I believe is a tripper. And so that's the Royal Enfield navigation system, so you can link your phone up to that. So that's quite handy. If we look at the switch, nice chrome switch gear on there, metal or plastic, I'm not quite sure. They're coming out with this adjustable grips on here now, what people have been asking for, so that's a nice added feature. Really retro on the bike, and it does look nice. Look at these little side running lights on the front there. LEDs all the way around, I believe. The rest of the lights, indicators, front and back lights are all LED. But there's enough chrome to keep you busy there, but not too much. See, the black and chrome one, which I'll show you on the screen, I think you've got to put yourself some time aside to keep that bike clean, because that has got a lot of chrome on it. But this one, like I say, has got 48 miles on it or something like that, and you can see the pipes already needing cleaning. These wheels are going to take, they look alloy to me, I'm not quite sure, but they look alloy, they're very nice. But you've got a chrome hub inside there as well. So all of this is going to take quite a bit of cleaning to keep this nice and pristine, which is the way you'd want it, I'm sure. But anyway, so that's just a little bit about the bike. Let's do a quick start up on it so we can hear these exhaust pipes. Right, ignition on, 650 engine, give that a bit of a rev. Very nice. Not too loud, but you don't want it too loud as a retro bike anyway, so I think that's right. So what we're going to do now is we'll wrap this up for now, get the camera mounted on the bike, and we'll take you for a ride. And we'll give a little overview of what we think about the riding of the bike and the geometry and saddle and gear change, brakes, front and back, rearview mirrors, etc. Stuff that I do. An overview of a test bike, so not a review with all of the numbers. I don't do the numbers. There's lots of guys that do, and they do a much better job than I could ever hope to do. So I'm just going to give you what I feel is the important stuff, is when you sit on that saddle, what does it feel like to ride? So let's get it going. We'll see you in a second. Right, morning guys. Welcome back. We're here positioned on this. We can see what this is, what it looks like from the rider point of view. And it is really that classic position. Not quite cruiser, a very old retro bike, in exactly the way with the swept back handlebars, little eyelid on the front of the headlight. You're on a classic, any doubt at all. So let's talk about the geometry of the bike. As I say, it's got those swept back handlebars, leg position, your feet are quite a lot more forward than they would be on the Interceptor or the Bear, for example. It's a very relaxed position, a very comfortable position. Moving on to comfort of the seat, the saddle, it kind of wraps itself around your cheeks, honestly. It is very comfortable. See how that's going to shape up over time, but it really does feel nice. Just putting the indicators on there, come off of this roundabout, going left again. So the feel of the switchgear, positive. You can definitely feel you have switched on the indicator. There's a click to it, and also switching the indicator off, there's a click to it as well. I got to get used to putting your feet down because the foot pegs are in a slightly different position than I'm used to having them. Gearbox very smooth, even at this early stage with this bike only having 50 miles on the clock now. I cannot see a bloody thing behind me on these mirrors, so it could be just adjustment. Anyway, we're going to go on to a little bit of a dual carriageway here, what this motor feels like and what it feels like to ride a classic on a dual carriageway. We're up into 6th gear now, sitting comfortably at 50, loads more in my hand here. Going to wind it up a little bit, so let's indicate coming out 70, no problem at all, coming back in. Over the shoulder observation, we're sitting at 60 very comfortably now, and loads more power there, so this bike will sit at 70, 80 on the motorway all day long. In terms of wind, because I'm not used to a naked bike, this has no screen on it, and I've got to say, it's the type of bike would not look odd with a little screen on it either, so I'm sure there's going to be quite a few people that own this bike that will put a screen on it, just to make this type of riding on dual carriageways a little bit more comfortable. In terms of the exhaust note, that quiet, it's very hard to hear. Even when I wind the throttle up a little bit more, it's still pretty hard to hear. So it's not going to be the loudest of bikes, but I don't think it's meant to be. I think the type of bike that we got here, it's not meant to be a noise. It's not too bad, but you can feel the old jump, bump and bump. So 2nd gear pull away there, loads of torque. We just popped onto some B roads here now just to see what it sounds like, what it feels like, what it rides like on the B roads compared to that little dual carriageway. And in terms of the suspension, I find it pretty hard. Much the same as I found the 650 Interceptor, but not the Bear. The Bear seems to, they've done quite a bit of work on the suspension on the 650 Bear, with the show upside down forks and the twin shocks on the back. But this is hard front and back. I'm sure you'll hear when I'm riding along, when I'm going over a few bumps, it actually jolts my voice, so it's not comfortable, I don't think. The brakes seem adequate, front and back, pretty good, as it is on any of the 650 bikes that I've ridden. This engine has got a lovely gearbox on it. Smooth, the clutch is nice and smooth too. The throttle is lovely on this. It's very responsive but not jerky at all in any way. It is, I would even say to a certain extent, the 450 Himalayan has got right at the bottom, it's got a little on-off switch, I call it, where this is, you can hear it, it's nice and smooth down there. So quite an easy bike to ride, and I'm sure that it's going to suit a lot of people who enjoy that sort of classic style, the classic feel, the classic look. For those that have watched my videos before, you'll see that that's the way I do my assessment of a bike. I don't call it a review, I call it an assessment. So I'm assessing what it feels like to get on the bike and to ride the bike. Besides all the numbers, we know it's a 650, we know it's a twin, we know it's oil cooled. I don't know what size the tyres are, what size the rims are, what size the brakes are. To me, that's almost irrelevant. The important things is, what does it feel like to ride? What is it, nice and smooth? Is it comfortable? Is the seating, the ergonomics, the brakes, the suspension, the gears, all of that kind of thing to me is much more important than what size the discs are and how many pods they've got. It does sound nice. The pipes do sound nice. When we stood still there in the park, when we had a little walk around, initial walk around, it does sound, it's quiet, it's not noisy, but you can hear them now. It definitely is a 650 twin, you can hear that, but it's not a noisy twin, and I think that is ideal. It perfectly suits the bike. It's not the kind of bike that you purposely want to wake the neighbours up with. It suits the style of bike. This is good kind of traffic to be in to see what the bike would be like. Is the foot position is comfortable, but if you've got to keep taking your feet on and off the pegs when you're stopping at roundabouts and traffic lights, etc., it takes a bit of getting used to where to put your feet down. You've almost got to put them, well, you have to put them behind the footrests, but the footrests are that far forward, and I'll show you that when we stop and have our little final walk around. Flows through the corners nicely, very easy to control at slow speed or high speed roads. Very nice smooth roads, so I'll be able to talk to you without my voice jumping around. Nice and smooth through the corners. A pretty easy bike to ride, nothing too complicated about it. I've got a friend of mine, Mark, whose channel I'll put up on the screen here now, and Mark said something interesting to me, that the 650 Classic is not available in India. Now, I didn't know that. I thought all of the bikes are launched first in India, all the Royal Enfields, and then to the rest of the world after that. But that's interesting. So people from India would be watching this video, listening to my review on what I thought about the bike. Talking about, so whilst we're talking about watching this video, could I ask you guys, I'm trying to grow the channel, could you please subscribe? You've been watching the channel long enough now to know the type of overviews that I do on the bike. I keep saying this, but it is a fact. This year is going to be quite a packed calendar, actually, with places we're going to, things we're doing to my bike. We're going to have a great summer, and no doubt we'll have a lot more of these type of things, riding the bike and bringing you my overview of my thoughts on the bikes. And as I say, just touring, camping, getting about the country. So if you, I would really appreciate it, hit that button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified when next video comes up, just hit that bell, ring the bell, and you'll be on the top of the list to be notified when the next videos are available. I would appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much indeed. So hi guys, welcome back. What we've got here now is my final overview of the bike. Having been out for a ride, felt what it's like to sit on the geometry of the bike, how comfortable the saddle are, what the gears were like, what the brakes were like, what the throttle was like, and the overall handling with this completely different geometry of a bike that I'm used to riding. I haven't ridden the shotgun, 650 shotgun, and those type of bikes at all. So I was very interested to see what it was going to feel like. And overall it does feel nice. Right, so if we do a little walk around, you can see they've done a great job on the styling of the bike, and I'm sure it's going to appeal to a whole lot of people. If we look at things that I'm not used to, this sort of thing where the foot peg is that much farther forward than I'm used to having it, which is round about here somewhere. So that would just take a bit of getting used to, I'm sure. The saddle itself, very comfortable on that ride, gotta say. If it weren't for that saddle, then I'm sure my back would have been feeling those shock absorbers as well. In terms of the sound of the bike, we heard the little startup we did earlier, which was great. Those pipes do sound nice. I'm sure that it won't be too long before there's some aftermarket type pipes that people can put on there. But if it were my bike, in this classic style, I wouldn't, because they sound nice, they look good, they fit the style of bike very well. So I don't think you need to take those pipes off and put aftermarket pipes on. I don't think there's much that you would have to do to the bike in terms of aftermarket. Those mirrors, I struggled with them. I stopped twice to adjust them, but I think that's just adjustment. There is a lot of adjustment on there. There's adjustment here to be able to maneuver the mirror in and out, and there's adjustment here to be able to bring the whole thing into a different position to be able to see around you. So I think that is just adjustment. I'm not going to put that down as a negative at all. Like I say, they've got the adjustable levers on there, but yeah, I've never felt the need for those at all. But some people have got smaller reach and they need to bring the levers in slightly to make them feel comfortable on that. Absolutely fine, and it's great that they're doing those kind of things now on the Royal Enfields. Loads and loads of chrome to be able to spend your afternoon polishing, and the lovely paintwork on there. They've done a fantastic job on this. It really is a stunning bike in terms of the quality of finish on it. Absolutely amazing. It's got a matte finish on the black frame, which is really, really nice. And then everything else has got this lovely sheen to it with this Royal Enfield logo on there. It looks like it's hand painted. Very, very nice. So the end result is lovely bike, rides very nicely other than the suspension. Very comfortable ride. When I popped it onto the dual carriageway there, it performs well. It'll get up to 70, 80 if you need to do some maneuvering, overtaking, etc. But it'll sit at 60, 70 on the motorway all day long without any bother at all. So at the end of the day, as I say, and I say this on all the bikes, it's not a bike for me, but it might be a bike for you. And you're never going to be able to tell that until you actually get on the bike and go for a ride yourself. Like I was saying earlier, my good friend Mark went for a ride on this and he came back with a massive smile on his face, he's told me, because he really enjoyed it. And I think, knowing Mark, this is the kind of bike that would suit him. He's coming off of a 350 Meteor, and it's got all that extra power that he's going to be able to use when required. But it's the style of bike that I think would suit him. And I think his wife goes on it every now and then. So as we said earlier, you can add the bit extra to the frame at the back here, all bolts onto this mechanism here, and you can put the pillion seat on there, so he can have that if he requires. But I'm sure that most of the time he's going to be riding it like this, with just him out on the road enjoying this blue sky and sunshine like we got today. So that's where we're up to right now, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for now. I'm just going to say thanks very much indeed for joining us again on this video. Fantastic bike. As far as I'm concerned, Royal Enfield knocked it out the park again. It's a great bike. It rides well. It handles well. It's got a great gearbox. The brakes are adequate for the style and size of the bike. Even though it's only got just over 50 miles on the clock, I'm sure they got a lot more scrubbing in to do, and they'll be better than what I was feeling out there. But it's not for me. So I'm just going to close it off by saying once more, not for me. But go for a ride on it yourself. Have a chat with the guys in your local dealer, or if you're local to Crowthorne, come and have a chat with the guys at Hatfields, and I'm sure they'll pop you out on this demonstrator that you can go and see for yourself what this bike is like. Another one of the fantastic bikes that Royal Enfield have made. Thanks for watching, guys. As I said earlier, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow it, and hit that like button. Share as well. Share if you can. Share this with your mates and friends and family so that they can spread the word. But we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again, chaps. Talk to you soon. Bye.